The year was 1988. Eleanor Vance, a dedicated 28-year-old oncology nurse, vanished without a trace from her apartment in the quiet suburban sprawl of Riverwood. Her car was still in the lot. Her identification was on the dresser, and a half-read paperback lay face down on her bedside table. There was no sign of forced entry, no ransom demand, only the chilling, absolute silence that signaled foul play. The police investigated every lead: ex-boyfriends, disgruntled neighbors, known local offenders, but the case eventually went cold, settling into the heavy file cabinets of unsolved mysteries marked missing person, presumed deceased. For 35 years, Eleanor's case was an agonizing echo in the lives of her family. Then, in 2023, Detective Sarah Kim of the state's Cold Case Unit pulled a fragile file. Most of the original evidence, dusty fibers, archaic handwritten notes, was useless. However, one piece remained preserved: a fingernail clipping kit taken during the initial apartment sweep, containing trace biological material believed to be from a struggle. Traditional DNA testing in the 1990s and 2000s yielded nothing conclusive. The sample was too degraded and minimal for standard Cody's matching. But Detective Kim authorized the use of advanced sequencing technology combined with forensic genetic genealogy. This was a turning point. A forensic lab spent 6 weeks working with the minute sample, managing to construct a partial Y chromosome profile, a genetic blueprint passed down to the paternal line. The profile was then uploaded to a publicly accessible genealogy database used by law enforcement under strict legal guidelines, seeking shared DNA markers. The search immediately hit pay dirt, identifying 2 second cousins who shared a great-grandparent with the unknown subject. This gave the team a framework, a starting branch on a massive, complex family tree. The next few months were a grueling exercise in historical research and detective work. The team mapped the family tree backward to the common ancestor, then forward through successive generations, cross-referencing names against public records, obituaries, census data, property deeds, and arrest records. They filtered for individuals who were the correct age and, crucially, had lived or worked within a 5-mile radius of Eleanor's Riverwood apartment in 1988. The complex mapping effort eventually narrowed the focus to one man, Robert Davies, now 71, living 2 states away. At the time of Eleanor's disappearance, Davies was 36 and had worked as a maintenance man in an office park adjacent to her residential area. The original investigation had briefly interviewed him, but dismissed him due to lack of connection. The Cold Case Unit began discreet surveillance on Davies. Within a week, they had their final non-negotiable piece of evidence. Under the pretext of a minor traffic stop, investigators covertly collected a discarded coffee cup used by Davies. The cup was rushed to the lab. The result was a definitive, unambiguous match that spanned 35 years. The DNA from the coffee cup was a perfect match to the trace evidence found under Eleanor Vance's fingernails. The genetic blueprint of the killer had been preserved in silence for decades, waiting only for the technology to read it. Robert Davies was arrested a week later, facing overwhelming DNA evidence. He eventually confessed to the abduction and murder, finally providing the location of Eleanor's remains in a densely wooded area just outside Riverwood. The case was closed, not with a burst of action, but with a quiet, undeniable certainty of science, bringing a final, heartbreaking form of closure to a family that had waited a lifetime